another discussion on AI-driven skilling. Today, we are tackling a question that's on everyone's mind. Is AI truly revolutionizing skilling, or is it just another buzzword? Joining us to break down the hype and unveil the reality is Muthuselvan Ayyasamy, Chief Product Officer at Tekstac, a 360-degree skilling platform. Hello, Muthu. Thank you for joining me for the discussion today.
Hi, Mamta. It's my pleasure.
So let me start by asking you, Muthu. Some critics say that AI-driven learning lacks human intuition. How does your platform ensure an adaptive, engaging, and a human-like learning experience? Also, I would like you to address the learner fatigue that comes with AI-driven learning.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Mamta. So typically, yeah, AI-driven learning is often criticized as being like too rigid or lacking the human touch. But however, like our platform Tekstac is designed to be like so highly adaptive and interactive to ensure that the learning feels more like a guided mentorship rather than just automation. Okay, so let's take the example of GenAI-based learning companion, which we have in our platform called TechBuddy. It provides a very real-time and contextual support to the learner wherever like so they have doubts. And when they post a query, it just doesn't give the same answer to everyone. Rather, like it understands the context in which the learner is asking this query and provide the explanation based on his or her learning or understanding and the pace at which they are learning, and even like how much time they spent on that particular concept before they came and asked the question. So that's the way like it really like provides a very personalized human touch to the learning of the user. Okay. And similarly, like when it comes to the learning, we emphasize a lot on scenario based or use case driven learning. So where like at the end of every concept, the user has to really like go and do a case study or hands-on programming lab where they have to apply the knowledge what they gained during their learning phase. And during this time also the case study or the problem statement, whatever they are working on, that is evaluated by the platform and a constructive human like feedback is given to the user. Okay, so that way like so we make sure user doesn't feel like just working on a standalone environment, rather like somebody is really like guiding him like a mentor or somebody is involved.
That's interesting, actually. So there's no real fatigue, or as if you're just talking to an AI bot or something like that.
Yes, that's true. And apart from these things, so since you mentioned about the fatigue, so we do like so a lot of gamification, like so providing the badges, leaderboards, and other concepts also into the learning, so that like people actually like see their progress and then like get motivated, like so how their learning is going on, everything. Okay, and some of the other things we have in the platform are like AI-driven nudges. Okay. So when it comes to self-paced learning, typically the user tend to just go away after some time. So in these cases, like so the AI-driven nudges, it's not just a reminder, rather it's again a contextualized one with respect to that individual user's learning pattern. Okay, it could even be like, okay, so you just finish up this module, you'd be like closer to your dream role, which is there in the organization, something like that. It's very personalized one.
Absolutely. It's very interesting. And I think gamification makes it even more, interesting to the learning patterns that they go through. Thank you for sharing that, Muthu. I'll also go to my next question about, there are companies who are implementing AI skilling programs. Do you think they're making some mistakes or they're spot on? If yes, then what are those 2-3 mistakes that they are making because of which they are not able to get good results out of those programs? They think that it is not worth it, or it is just a buzzword, it's not helping us either ways. So and also some myths that you would want to debunk, that business leaders have it in their mind. Yeah,
so that's a very important question in the current context, because GenAI is the probably in the peak of the hype cycle now. So we have like observed a lot of interesting things, and a couple of them are like so very crucial mistakes normally like organizations tend to do while implementing the AI skilling program. The very first one I would say is treating AI skilling just like a pure technical implementation rather than thinking it like a transformational initiative. right? So companies invest heavily on platforms, and just getting some platform is not going to really like do magic. Rather, like, so they have to prepare their internal culture and workflows so that like so people are ready to really like leverage this big transformation thing which is happening in the industry.
Thank you for sharing that. So, when you're actually implementing such programs, do you think that AI can create personalized career roadmaps for employees? And if they actually can, then how does it impact the long-term employee growth? I think that is what people seek, growth in the organization. Do you think that these AI skilling programs serve any purpose when it comes to their growth in the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So in a way, like if you see, AI has kind of like revolutionized the personalized career roadmaps or career maps, career path. And so that happens largely because of our ability to leverage large data insights, be it tons and tons of skilling data which is available within the organization, and a lot of roles and the role to skill mappings which are available in the organization, and the user's current skills, his or her learning history, the aspirations, and the overall market trends. We could able to like combine everything together, and then we would able to come up with the personalized learning path or learning career path for that user, and suggest like what he or she should learn to go in that direction. Okay, so in a way, if you see, this new technology or GenA based platforms can really like work like a sophisticated GPS for a user to really like go in the right direction in their career path.
Oh, wow, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
All this is already happening. Tekstac is doing it. If I have to ask you about the next 5 years, I'm sure there are companies who are still lagging behind on these skilling programs. But if we talk about the future, what's there next for AI-driven skilling? For the ones who are already there doing all these programs, what innovations do you see defining learning in the next 5 years?
Okay, so this one is again interesting change which is happening. So what we are seeing already is a phenomenal change which is happening across all the industry, including the skilling area. Okay, but in my opinion, we are just still scratching the surface. There are like so a lot of things which can happen in the upcoming days. Okay, so I would say probably I will focus on at least like a couple of things. One is really like hyper personalization. So when we say personalization here, we are not just talking about enabling like a few contents based on his or her interest, or probably like increasing or decreasing the speed of learning pace. So not that, it is like so much more than that which can happen in the coming days. Okay, so it could be based on probably like again like analyzing thousands of variable parameters with respect to that individual and the content which he or she is learning. So think of a case like on a long tiring day, at the end of the day, if I am coming and start learning something, within few minutes, if the system could understand, okay, his learning pace is not as per his regular thing, then I might need to actually give him something lighter than giving a heavy subject. So if it can actually like take that moment and how things are at that moment, and it can give me or suggest me the content based on that, that is the kind of change which can happen potentially in next 3-4 years.
That's a very relevant point there, Muthu, because everyone has a different pace of learning. And if AI can gauge that, I think nothing like it. Any other thing that you would like to add for our audience, for companies?
One more interesting thing which would happen in the coming days, again, it is related to AI and AI-based skilling, is currently like, so people are thinking it more like technology and learning the technology. So, but what would eventually happen is to come up with some kind of blueprint which will give a collaborative intelligence framework between an individual and the AI system, right? So probably like, so what kind of AI support you need would be different from what kind of AI support I need, even if both of us are there in the same role.
Absolutely.
So that kind of like, so individuals competencies and their cognitive strength and problem solving approaches, based on which what kind of support they would need from the AI assistants. So that kind of blueprint would really like come into picture, and people will be like trying to really like gain this part, so that like so they will be able to gain maximum of their skills with the support of AI. So that's the way probably like would evolve over time.
Thanks for sharing those relevant insights. I hope this discussion has given our audience a clear perspective of what AI, skilling is and how the future will turn out to be, and what it really means for companies and learners alike. Because sometimes you have the best programs in place, but there's always an apprehension of the hype that AI skilling has created in the industry. So thank you for joining me today for the discussion. It was a pleasure to connect with you.
Thanks, Mamta. It was a pleasure from my end to join here. Yeah, thank you.